Hello everybody, this is Lil Ninja, and welcome back to another episode of Ninja's Empire, where in the last episode, we started work on this sheep farm here. And then in between episodes, or at the end of the last episode, after I quit recording, I went ahead and finished it up here. I got all the colors of sheep in, 2 of every kind, and then dyed them. Or I got 2 sheep in each slot and then dyed them. It was I figured it would be easier that way. And I've been breeding them up here, and then I went to bed. And the next day I was playing around with some stuff. I downloaded the replay mod, which is basically a mod that allows you to do third-person recording, so like for time lapses and stuff. And I was playing around with it, and somehow, because I'm an utter tech noob, I managed to delete my player data. And I couldn't figure out how to restore it, and it was just being an absolute pain. And the last backup of the world that I had was made when we started work on this elevator. So the bedrock was broken and the hole was dug, but the elevator wasn't built yet. And I was like, you know what? That's just ridiculous. There's no way I'm doing that again. Because you delete player data means also everything in the ender chest is missing, which is quite a bit of stuff, as you can see. 3 beacons and 7. Anyway, so I went into creative and I replaced everything that was missing that I could think of. So there's some stuff like the glass that was in this chest, all the glass that we smelted, some of the dyes that I had collected, all that stuff is missing because I don't remember how much of it I had, etc. But everything that I built up until I lost my data has been replaced. And now I'm just going around and breeding up these sheep, and I want 16 in every slot. And so today the plan is to finish this room out. So I'm going to want to build the floor at this level. The floor is going to be made out of wooden slabs, out of this wood right here. And the rest of the room, I want to do some sort of like a very natural feel, like a lot of wood and grass and maybe some bushes and stuff like that, vines possibly. But at the same time, it's going to have to be sort of a fantasy feeling as well because well, obviously there's a rainbow of colors in here. And we have a limited space to play with. We can't make really high ceilings because otherwise ghasts will spawn in here, which could be a bit tricky. I'm going to have to do some designing in a creative world, not this one, my test world. And then the other thing I want to do is, rather than make a staircase that leads up to the floor, which the floor in here is going to be at this height, I want to bring this elevator, continue it on up through, and then I want to make a system where the minecart goes down automatically, because I know I said it wouldn't be a big deal, you know, having the minecart break and then just, you know, chuck it down like so, but it is. It's a real pain. It's getting to be a real pain anyway, and the minecart keeps destroying itself on the cactus, and it's just, yeah, not cool. So I'm gonna try to come up with a system where the minecart resets itself automatically and doesn't constantly get destroyed in the cactus, and then we can raise this elevator up another, what, 3 blocks? 2 blocks. I'm probably going to go 3, and then build this room in here. So I've got to go do some designing in the creative world and do some more resource collecting, obviously, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I just came up with a basic design, and I went and gathered a whole bunch of resources, and I'm not sure I have enough of jack-o'-lanterns. No, seriously though, I'm actually not sure these are going to reach around, but let's see here. I'll show you the basic design here. This is the entrance. Comes in right here and it's centered, and then this would be floor height, well, a half slab above this block here, and then on the sides or on the walls I want to do something like this. Alright, so you've got birch fences, and a lot of people hate birch, and I don't quite get it because it makes a really good wooden texture that contrasts well against the darker the darker, like the spruce and the dark oak. And I mean, it could be a little less yellow, but come on, it's a pretty useful color at least. Okay, so then we do something like this, and we're gonna go 2 thick because 1 thick just isn't quite enough. It's a little barren. And then behind that we place in our jack-o'-lanterns, and that creates a really cool look. Like, you can just sort of see the orange a little bit peeking through the leaves there. I think it looks really cool. Obviously it won't be down here. We're gonna cover this up with something, so let's see here. The floor, we're gonna be walking obviously on top of this glass, but you can still see down through. However, I don't want the wall to extend all the way down to the bedrock, so I'm thinking what I'm gonna do here along the glass and under the glass is put dark oak logs in. and I think that texture looks a little bit like mud. Yeah, it looks it looks like mud. It's a great texture that goes underneath buildings, especially natural ones like this. And so when you're up there on the glass, you're just going to see that down below, and then this will be up above that. And then the floor. This is the pattern I came up with for the floor. And now originally I was thinking I was going to do the ceiling at this height because ghasts require a 5 high space to spawn in, and so we didn't want to go higher than that. But stupid idiot, everything in here is not spawnable, or nothing in here is spawnable. So we can make the ceiling as high as we want, and nothing is going to spawn in this room because we got half slabs here and everything else is glass. So yeah. So now I'm not quite sure what I want to do with the ceiling. I was gonna mirror this pattern basically in reverse. So have birch instead of dark oak, and then keep the spruce the same, and then do dark oak instead of birch, which would make the ceiling a lot lighter overall color, which is a good thing if you want to make a room feel high. So like light colored ceilings make a room feel bigger, and dark colored ceilings make it feel smaller and cozier. Random interior decorating fact for you there. Here's the other thing. I don't really know what I'm going to do about this gap right here that you can see in there, because I might have to run minecarts under each strip here, hopper minecarts, to pick up the wool. I haven't actually tested this yet, but I'm not sure that the wool that you go shearing like this will all pop up for you to catch. I think some of it's going to fall. Let's see here. Can we get... Why do we miss some of the sheep? That's a bit odd. There we go. That's really strange, kind of worrying actually. So it's going to be a bit of a pain to shear them well. But now let's see how many. Yeah, see, there's wool in there that we're not picking up, which means that we're going to have an alternative pickup system for that wool. Which means that what I'm going to do is come in here and run a hopper minecart back through there, and then I'll probably do something like just have a button at the beginning of each row so that I can go down through, shear the sheep, and then come back and push the button, and the minecart goes down through and picks up the wool that I missed. But for now I can leave that because it's too high under here, and I can work just fine like that after the floor is in place. So yeah, it's going to be a bit tricky. Won't really be able to decorate this because there's going to be, you know, minecart rails and stuff there, but it's a small enough area I don't think you'll notice it much. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put in the dark oak around here, put the walls in, put in these pillars at every critical point, like all the corners, and possibly one in the middle. So like, you know, one at the corner, one at that corner, and then one here or something like that. I don't know. I'll see once how it looks. And finish up this floor, and then I've got to come up with a design for the ceiling because I don't want it to be this low. Now that I realize that it can be high, I want to make a nice high ceiling. So yeah, I'll go ahead and get all this done and be right back. So what you're watching right now is a time lapse I put together using the replay mod that I was talking about in the beginning of the episode where I lost all my data. Well, I finally got it to work, and this is the kind of stuff that you can create with it. Like, this isn't very good time-lapse material, obviously, but now we know whenever there is actually good time-lapse material, now I can do stuff like this, cinematic shots and things like that. So it's pretty cool. Alright, back to building. Wow, that is a lot of jack-o'-lanterns. This place is definitely going to need an exterior as well, even though I'm thinking I might do like a closed-in hallway here, and then possibly also a tube that goes up to the top there. Just the chance that we might see this outside, it's gonna need an exterior. So for now, let's focus on the inside. I have never done walls like this. It's 4 layers of blocks just for this little bit of detail, but I'm starting to learn, in building, it's the little details like this that count. Just the glimpse of orange as you walk past, that makes stuff really come alive. And now for the ceiling. So originally I was gonna do, I was thinking it needed to be low, and I was gonna do like a wooden pattern. But now we can raise it up, and I'm thinking how I want to do this. I don't really want to raise the walls anymore because Well, with the birch fence texture, like it's busy enough that it wouldn't look good in huge expanses. So, but I do want to raise the ceiling. So I think the way we can do that is to use sort of like a open beams going across at the ceiling height, and then a cathedral ceiling, sort of like the barn is in the overworld. So let me just build a little bit here and show you what it's going to look like. Well, I'm actually struggling between a couple different design options. So I could do this with the ceiling just above the beams, so there's going to be beams like crisscrossing the room, going to every post basically, and then have the ceiling just above like that, and just have it a solid color. I mean, that gives it a little bit of depth there, but there's something missing, I think. And then the other thing is to have the kind of roof on here that the blacksmith has in the overworld, and then just leave it open. So still have the beams going across, but then have it like really high up into the peak of the roof, you know, and open and dark up in there, which could be okay. But then we'd also have to worry about pigmen spawning on the beams, and I'm not sure. You know what? I think we can improvise here, or not improvise, compromise. That's the word I was looking for, and do something like this. So if we keep this pattern, but then we leave a gap in between. Let's see. This would be the bottom half slab. That means nothing will spawn up here, and then and then do like so. And let me just do a little section of this so that we can get a better idea of what it's going to look like from underneath. And then we dig these away, and then that will have even more depth, and so it'll be kind of like a mix between the two designs. Let's see how this looks from down here. Okay, just imagine that going all over. And then the other thing we could do, if we do this, we could have bushes then up there, kind of like draping down like this in places. Yeah, that could look really cool. I think I'm gonna do that. So I've got to place in the slabs up there, and I'm gonna place them in all over the whole building, and then we can tear out the stone. That way, nothing spawns. I guess nothing's gonna spawn. I keep thinking that if I take away the upside down half slabs up here, ghasts are gonna spawn above this area. But nothing in here is actually spawnable. There's just glass and upside down half slabs, or I guess regular. These aren't upside down, regular half slabs, so nothing can actually spawn in here. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and swap all this stone out for that right there, and be right back. I got a little carried away and finished the whole roof, put all the beams in, and on the outside there, I just extended it out a little bit, and there's actually a gap there which you can almost see, but just not quite. And it's kind of gives a cool feeling of like it being open up in there, and it's just like a little bit of a mystery or something, which I think goes well with the sort of almost magical feel that you could possibly get from this build. That's kind of what I'm going for. The outside will definitely look more magical, but yeah, now we can just put in some of the details like the leaves around here, do some stuff on top of the beams and draping down like that, and let's see, maybe under here like so, and just go around and put a few spots of those in there. But it's kind of cool though, like seeing this on a large scale, you almost can't tell if there's a gap between the beam and the birch, except for like right there where you see that post, which is kind of cool. But the details obviously really bring that out and emphasize that gap, which I think looks really cool. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these bushes in around the inside here, and then once we finish breeding up these sheep so that there's 16 in each slot, the inside of this pen, or this cage, sheep farm, whatever you want to call it, will be done. Okay, so the bushes are in place, and I really love how that brings the room together. So everything in this room is just square and straight, hard lines, and then the bushes just throw in a random factor that really, I think, brings the room, like makes it feel complete. Anyway, the next thing to do is to work on the wool collection system. So let's see if I have a shears here. Do I? No, I can make one though. Like so. And then, okay, so the problem I'm facing is that not all the wool pops up, and also that I'm hungry. And so like it falls down into that gap, right? And we need something or a way to pick it up from when it's down there on the ground. Now the easiest way to do that would be with a hopper minecart. The question is how to get it to go, or when, and if I should put it on a clock. And actually, I just came up with a good idea. So originally, I was trying to figure out, logistics would be a nightmare. I can't have 17 hopper minecarts all running at once in here. That would make such an incredible racket and probably cause some lag as well. I think. So I needed like a send the minecart on demand system. So I come down here, shearing all the sheep, and then push a button, and the minecart goes just on that row. But how to do that? And I just had a thought that would work really well. If we do a button here, one button in front of each row, and then have the minecart sitting here, and runs down the row that way to the back. Let's go around here, and I can show you. So the minecart would enter here and run along the row, on either sides. There'd be powered rail the whole way along under here, under every row, and then minecart. So you push a button, minecart runs from that end down to this end, and then down here we can have the automatic unloader. So we need 17 unloaders. That's going to be quite a few hoppers and so on. A bunch of redstone supplies that I don't have right now. So the minecart comes down here, automatically unloads, and goes back and stops at the other end. And then from the unloader system, we can possibly have a system with a minecart here at the front. So have like a station somewhere here, like in this hallway. We could have a little room here with a station where there's a minecart, and you push a button and it goes off and goes around the entire building. And then wherever there's wool, the minecart pulls in and stops and picks up the wool from whichever place that it needs to, and then carries on and keeps going down to the room here where we can pick up any wool that we may have missed. It's going to be a bit of a logistic trick to try and figure out exactly how to get everything to work right, and all the redstoning stuff. I'm going to need to do a bit of designing, and it is going to have to wait for the next episode because I'm all out of time for today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.